Okay, so this is side curl that we're gonna do together. There's a whole video on how to set up, so please watch that one first. But essentially we're gonna be on one side. So as you come on your mat, you're gonna need that pillow or blanket to be underneath your head to make sure that your spine is completely straight. And then I'm making sure my shoulders are in line. I tuck usually the bottom one in a bit. I make sure that my legs are 90 degrees. I can see here that my spine is probably straight and not too far back or curled too far forward, because I see there's about like an even square here. I can see my toes just from my over my knees, which tells me they're about 90 degrees. Now as I lie here for side curl, there's two pieces that we're doing. There's the top half with the arm and the bottom half with the hips. So let's first start with the top half, because sometimes that's an easier entry. So what I'm looking for is these muscles. This is my serratus anterior here, primarily. I'm just gonna tap on these upper muscles, telling my brain, hey, pay attention, this is what we're doing. And I'm actually gonna take the time to go all the way down to my side and my hip. And I'm gonna tap around there, particularly the area that's the crest of your pelvis here. I'm sort of like cupping my hand, and with the web of my hand, I can feel that bone. So I'm even gonna tap all around that area, because I'll be moving that soon too, just to get everything online. So with my arm flat along the top of my body, I'm gonna start to bring my armpit down towards my hip. And I'm accordion squeezing the side body. I can even feel these muscles are tight under my hand. And then I'm gonna bring my armpit back up, and I like to go all the way up and squeeze toward my ear. A lot of us have tight upper trap muscles, and this really helps come up and then release for a second to then allow me a little bit more space here. I don't want, when I'm bringing my armpit down towards my hip, I don't want to feel like I'm stretching these muscles, right? That's not what we do with this methodology. So if it feels like you really can't bring the armpit down without over pulling or pulling even a little bit, then come on up, squeeze that shoulder towards the ear, and then gently release the shoulder back down, and then start to have that armpit again. Try to reach down towards your hip. We don't want it to be a tug of war between here and here. So if this is still tight, go back and do some of those shoulder work pieces where we lift the shoulders up towards the ears, or some of the other ones that I have videos for. So the idea is that we're gonna bring an accordion squeeze in our side body here by bringing the armpit down and back up. Now, if we focus on the hip piece, once you take your hand and get that web between your thumb and your finger and find the crest of your hip and press, you can almost press gently down into it, and this should give you a bit of an idea in space that you're going to bring the hip up towards the armpit. You can see that it's dipping in here, and you could probably just see my hip lift up. So again, I'm having the hip reach up towards my armpit and back down. Now, maybe that's not the right one for you. Maybe it's easier if you think about your knees being glued together, and you can't see my feet, unfortunately, but I'm just lifting my foot up, and which naturally, as you can see, is starting to shift my hip up towards my armpit. And then like a lever, I use my foot coming down, really stupidly slow. Let the foot come down in order to let the hip come out of that little curl. I'm going to take a complete breath and even let my arm go so I can feel that ease and relief, letting all ounces of those last fiber pieces release. And I'll try it again. Lift the foot up, knees are glued together, hip comes up. Just pressing into your hand. Slowly. See how smoothly you can let those big muscles release. You're still breathing. And now try to bring both of them together. So armpit is going to go down to hip, hip up to armpit. You can either do the version with the legs as helpers, or you can just bring the hip up towards the armpit, whatever works for you. Maybe try the legs first for a couple days, weeks, whatever, and then come back and try this idea of the hip just coming up and squeezing down as the armpit comes down. And then I'm letting gravity help me out as these 2 points, hip and shoulder, start to release away from each other. And maybe I even bring my shoulder up towards my ear and I let my hip sort of sink in the opposite direction. And now I've gained a ton of space in here. So maybe just 2 more passes. Bring your armpit down to your hip up to your armpit. Feel that gentle squeezing of the side body. This should feel like a really nice, gentle, delicious movement. Don't effort too much. Just let this be joyful, delicious in your body as you come in and out of these contractions. Shoulder comes up to ear, let the hip, maybe it's helpful to press gently, encourage the hip to come down. 1 more pass, maybe keeping your hand at this hip. Armpit comes down, hip comes up, arm up to shoulder, and just gently bringing that hip down. Sometimes I even like to let that top leg go long. And I bolster it a little bit by putting my bottom leg out, so it's kind of catching my calf. And then shift and see what feels different. Just left side to right side. Legs long if it's comfortable, or feet on the ground, knees up if you need to. I can feel this entire right side is so much more flush with the ground. My hip feels more connected to my trunk. This side that I didn't work feels more like dull and stale. And my right side really is starting to feel this sense of like engaged connection to the rest of my body. If this feels like it's released a lot for you, you need to stabilize. Put the feet flat on the ground, knees up. If you have a block, you put a block between your thighs. If you have a strap, you could tighten it around here. You should feel nice and snug on your hips. You could do both. And slowly press the feet into the ground. Feel that kind of groundedness coming through. Release. And then maybe even taking a pass through arch and flatten, or if it's better for you to do a flatten and arch. Maybe even noticing if it feels like it's smoother to do these movements on the side that you did the side curl on already. Yeah, I feel like my right side is now like an easy driver, and the left seems like it's a passenger, not really sure what it's doing. And then you would switch to the other side, and you can replay this video.